I've been doing quite a bit of traveling over the past couple of years, and you did a lot as well
Yeah, yeah,
before as well. So yeah, we could talk a bit about that because I
yeah,
mean, for me, my from my point of view, I love to travel regardless of doing day game. It's always for me, it's always interesting exposing yourself to different cultures and really kind of throwing yourself out there, not kind of going to a new place like as a tourist and doing all the touristy stuff, but actually properly immersing yourself into the whole lifestyle of being in that place. So like actually properly living in that place. Um, so that's something I find interesting. But obviously, with the dating side of things, it's always interesting to date, girls of different cultures, and yeah, just kind of reap the benefits of dating abroad. Because I generally find most of the time the girls tend to be a bit more friendly, a bit more open-minded, a bit more down to earth compared to the girls in the West.
mm,
Um, and also generally a bit more feminine, and you also have more value as well as a Western guy.
yeah,
They're generally interested in you and your culture, and they see you as a kind of like high value dude more so than you would in the West. So it does raise your, I guess, your points, if you like, by one or two or whatever. So
sure, sure.
that's what's really cool about dating. And I always think that like there's certain areas that I feel like every Western dude should just experience. Like I feel like every single Western dude should experience Eastern Europe at least once, Latin
Yeah,
America at least once, and just have an amazing time. Because so many guys confine themselves to the West because they're so focused on finding that one girlfriend that they really resonate with in their local area. But if you've got a bit of holiday time, if you are going to be living the single life for a little bit, then yeah, why not spend a bit of time?
yeah.
Spend some holidays abroad and just
Uh,
have an amazing time.
sure. I mean, there are right now more than ever, like you can find some really bargain flights. Uh, my student today was saying that there are like flights going to parts of Italy for like a tenner, you know,
Really,
uh,
yeah,
like where the markup, like where most of the cost is incurred, is actually in the luggage and whatnot. So
oh yeah,
uh, over the years, because I did tons and tons of travel, um, like I was just living out of a little rucksack, really. So I got really good at just carrying just the essentials. And so I would have maybe 4 or 5 t-shirts, 2 pairs of jeans, some socks, some underwear, a jacket, like packing really light, and then just having to um, wash the clothes. So we'd often get Airbnbs with, they would have a washing machine. And worst case, like when it comes to t-shirts, oftentimes it's just the sweat that needs washing out. So in Airbnbs where there was no washing machine, I would just, uh, when I'd be taking a shower, I would just soak the t-shirt, put some shampoo on there, and then, you kind of get rid of this the sweat, and yeah, hang it up, and then it's dry the next day. So there are plenty of workarounds where you can really pack super lightly. There are even jackets that you can buy that they look like puffer jackets, right? Like long puffer looking jackets where you can put like probably like 20 or 30 kilos worth of stuff in there. It's got these pockets, so that's also a little hack to try and sneak in way more.
yeah.
um
The hand
thing.
luggage.
Yeah. It's because
Another
like
thing, just to say about yeah,
yeah,
just to point out about the hand luggage. A lot of the time I actually bring more than one bag with hand luggage, and most of the time the people in the gates they don't give a fuck. And if they ever were to ask me, I'll just say, oh, it's just some food and some other crap I just bought recently in the airport or something. And but most of the time they don't question it. It's only really when you're actually checking in, doing your check-in, where they're
yeah,
they want to make sure that the checked-in luggage is all as it should be. But hand luggage,
yeah.
most of the time they don't give a fuck. You can do, I've carried like 3 bags before when it's only supposed to be one, and yeah, no, they don't really give a shit most of the time.
I find
except for Ryanair. Don't do it with Ryanair or these cheap companies. If you do it with a really cheap one, they sometimes get a bit anal about that. But yeah.
What I found that with Ryanair, what I used to do was I just make sure to be the last one to board, right? Because the reasoning behind that is because basically if you're the last to board, they don't really have too much time to fuck you about and to start charging you for extra fees and whatnot, you know, because obviously that they need to board everyone onto the plane, so you're less likely to be interrogated, you know, about your hand luggage if you're the last to get on. And the other advantage to being the last to get on is on certain flights, if they're not like, you know, fully booked out, is if you're the last to board, often you'll find those seats with extra legroom available, you know, because they usually charge for those. But if you're the last to board, you can just walk on and then, you know, confidently sit in one of those seats. That's what I used to do.
Less time also queuing up, waiting to actually board the plane as well. And if you're carrying a heavy rucksack or something, you know, you don't have to standing around as much. So yeah, exactly. And also sometimes, depending on the flight, you can also get like an entire aisle just to yourself, because you know, like most people always sit in their allocated space. So if it's like near the back end of the plane, you know, I've had it before where I just moved seats because there was no one there, and I get the whole aisle to myself, which is cool.
Yeah. I remember taking a flight to Oslo. It was like 20% full, like most of the plane was empty, but it was hilarious seeing these like very obedient Norwegian people sitting in their allocated seats. They were strangers. They were sat next to each other, right, in their allocated seats, even though like the plane was virtually empty. It was insane, like how much people kind of stick to the rules. Like, you're not killing anyone, mate. Just like fucking move. Yeah, exactly. You're not being that much of a rebel by sitting in a seat that wasn't allocated to you, you know?
Worst case scenario, tell you to move, and that's it.
Not losing out. Like, yeah, Ryanair is like, is going to lose out on an extra 10 quid or whatever. Big deal. Yeah. You know? So yeah, there's I think for guys out there, you can definitely travel on a budget, you know. So when it comes to flights, you can find some great deals as long as like you're not paying for all that extra luggage. You can save loads of money that way. Places like Barcelona, it's a bit pricey. I remember like a jet ski was like 120 euros. Like I would avoid certain cities if you don't have a big budget to play with, you know. Plenty Eastern European cities are very affordable. Also Latin America, like, you know, Colombia.
Well, actually, the thing is, you know, for guys who are like entrepreneurs or like guys who are able to work remotely, you would actually save money by spending more time in these places. You would actually save more money, like saving the rents that you would pay in the West. As well as all the extra costs and like living expenses and stuff. You know, even if you go to Latin America, like so many guys are a little bit scared of going to Latin America. A lot of the time it's because of the flights and the time zone differences and that kind of thing. But the thing is, okay, yeah, the flight's going to be more expensive because it's a long flight, but you know, it's so fucking cheap there that, you know, you're going to save money overall with the living expenses. If you spend like a few months there, 2 or 3 months, or even 1 month, you're going to save more money probably than if you were still living in the UK or in the US.
So well, I think like a flight to Colombia is like, I don't know, 600 quid, right? Like a hotel in Barcelona is going to set you back maybe 200 euros a night, right? Whereas for like 200 euros, you could easily get a hotel in Medellin for like, or Bogota for like 10 days, maybe, you know. It's ridiculously. So don't just consider the price of the flight. If you actually do your calculations, check the price of like eating out, accommodation, you might easily find that actually flying to Colombia is a lot cheaper than spending a week in Barcelona, you know.
Yeah, that's true. What would you say was your favorite place that you went to abroad?
Moscow, I would say Moscow.
Okay.
I've been to Moscow 3 times. Um, not planning to go back soon. But yeah, no, but Moscow was the best, I would say. 15 million people. Um, it was just an exciting city to be in because it's so big. Um, like limitless supply of hot women, and they're very receptive. Helps if you speak some Russian. Um, so I think that's one of my favorites. Istanbul was actually one of my favorites as well. Um, uh, I thought the girls were really receptive. I love the prices. I love the food. So yeah, um, I, my top 3 cities, I would say Moscow, Kiev, and Istanbul. Top 3.
That's really interesting. And the thing is, these are all cities which are like further away, which
Yeah.
is really interesting. Because yeah, when I first started like traveling, like let's say like 3 years ago, like it wasn't really, I'd go to places like like Paris and Amsterdam, Germany, and it wasn't like massively different compared to London. It's only really when you go to places like which are much further away, like Ukraine, Russia, Turkey, where that culture just massively shifts, and you just get an all-round just better experience, not just in terms of the actual the actual place itself, but obviously with dating as well. It's just massively different, and it's just an experience that I think that every guy should have, and just even if it's only for a week or something, you'll have an amazing time. Obviously, I think if you go to somewhere like Russia, if you spend a week there, it's going to be quite difficult actually to do much dating because they are a little bit more conservative. So generally speaking, like if you can spend a bit more time there, it is ideal because yeah, they you generally have to date for longer and that kind of thing. But yeah, Latin America is just an amazing experience as well. Did you ever go to Latin America yourself?
I haven't been, no.
Oh, okay.
But I remember speaking to Tom Torero,
Yeah.
and yeah, I remember him telling me, he said, mate, like, you've got to check out, Latin America. It's awesome, He particularly liked Colombia. Yeah, so um, yeah, at the moment, I don't really speak any Spanish, so I think it, I would like to learn a bit of Spanish before going to Colombia.
Yeah.
You know?
It definitely gives you a bit of an advantage. I've definitely felt that was the case when I was in Mexico because you're not just like some tourist who's just there just to have a good time. You're actually there, actually integrating yourself into the culture and actually putting in a bit of effort, and they notice that and they respect that. So yeah.
How did you find Mexico?
Yeah, it was good. I spent time basically in Mexico City and then in Cancun and Playa del Carmen. So
Yeah.
Mexico City was like amazing. It was I would say like for day game, it was a bit hit and miss. But for dating, it was like insane. So like when I first tried to do a bit of day game in Mexico City, I went to like the city center and it was just like completely dead. It was just like there were loads of people, but there was literally in the space of 2 hours, I saw like one hot girl in the space of 2 hours, which is just absolutely pathetic. But then I later found out after I actually left the city that there's a couple of areas like on the west side which are pretty good for day game. But I actually spent most of my time there actually doing a bit of online dating, and that was actually really good, surprisingly, because obviously online dating is utter shit in like the vast majority of the world, especially in Europe, especially in Western Europe. But over there, it was actually really good. Like on Bumble, like every other swipe was a match for me, which is absolutely insane. It's just like you'd never ever get that in the West or in Europe. But obviously, me as a gringo. Yeah, it really, it was just like, it was just an insane experience. And, you know, I even invited girls straight to my apartment, not even having a date, just straight to the apartment. And a few of them
Wow.
actually did that, which was just insane. Like, but to be
Yes.
honest, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Like for most people, and actually looking back on it, I think that was actually quite a stupid idea because you want to be meeting the girl at least first,
Yeah.
at least for your own safety, if nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, like she could be completely insane. You could be getting catfished. It's not really worth it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that was Mexico City. Cancun was pretty shit, to be honest. Spent a bit of time there. It was not great. Like they had nice beaches, but it's just a bit of a shit place. Like there's not much going on. It's quite boring. It's not good for day game. It's not good for dating. It's pretty shit. Playa del Carmen was really good though. Really good place. It's a bit touristy. It's a bit, I would say, almost like overly touristy. It's a lot of like Europeans and Americans over there, but it's still
Yeah.
really good. There's a lot of Latin Americans, not just Mexicans, lots of Argentinians, Colombians coming over there, people from all over Latin America going there on holiday. It's really good. It's very transient as well, so it's got a really good sort of party atmosphere, party vibe. So you can do a lot of casual dating, and it's really good for that. One thing I would say, it's got a bit of a sleazy vibe as well. I mean, it's a bit kind of like, you know, everyone's just, you know, everyone there is either like just going there just to get wasted and get laid, or it's like they're all like hippies on like some meditation retreat, that kind of thing, or they're like these
I,
influencers
that's
who are
often the
like,
case. Yeah, I think that's often the case with you know, with kind of these beach towns.
yeah,
Like the same thing in Odessa in Ukraine, a similar thing, you know.
yeah,
It does attract, yeah, more of the sleazeballs, more of the
yeah.
non day gamers, you know.
Yeah, it's like in Odessa. I spent a lot of time in Odessa. Like, if you spend most of your time approaching, like in the city center, you're going to get
Yeah,
like the usual sort of nice Ukrainian girls.
yeah,
But if you spend most of your time in like the beach bars, then you're going
yeah,
to get a bit of a different crowd. You're going to get like girls who are like hustling and girls who are like, I guess, gold diggers, basically. You know, they're looking for foreign guys just to buy them drinks and spoil them and that kind of thing. I mean, I had an experience one time where, like, my friend approached one group of girls, and then one of the girls in that group came over to me, started talking to me, and I was just like, "Yeah, how's it going?" Blah blah blah. And then one of the first things she says was like, "So, do you want to buy me a drink?" And it's just
yeah.
like, and it's just like, come on, we've barely even spoken, and that's like the first thing you say to me. So then I was just like, nah, I'm all right, thanks. And then she got a
So,
little bit pissed off.
yeah, I think like when I just got into game, like because I was clueless, I was just kind of like repeating what I'd seen in movies and stuff. So I remember like literally offering to buy girls drinks. That was my kind of like opener in clubs. It was terrible. I literally just I started to get results, my first results, once I'd stopped buying drinks for
Yeah,
girls in you know. So any guys out there doing any bar game, yeah, just don't use that as a way to, you know, open or meet girls. It's not necessary. If she likes you, she's not gonna be bothered about a drink, you know.
yeah,
If she's reading to you a lot of times, she'll insist, you know,
yeah,
uh, to pay for herself or even buy you a drink, you know. So
yeah. That's true. That's very true. Like if a girl is like almost asking you for a drink, then it's best to leave it. It's like she knows what she's doing, and she's just trying
yeah,
to hustle. Some girls are like that, and you just have to be aware of that.
absolutely.
I remember like at one time in Mexico, basically I went on a date with a girl, and we went to like this rooftop bar, and it's basically divided into like the bar section and like the restaurant section. So obviously I
Yeah,
was leading her over to the bar section. Come on, let's get a drink. Let's sit on the sofa and do my normal thing. But she was like, "Oh no, I'm hungry. I want to eat." And then I said, "Okay, maybe we can eat later, but for now, let's just get a drink and sit in the bar area." And then she turns around and says to me, "If you don't buy me some food, I'm leaving." She said that straight away. And I just
right.
said, "Okay, bye." I literally said, "Okay, bye," straight to her
Yeah.
face like that. It was super awkward. because the thing is, we both. I kind of left before she did, and she obviously followed me out, and we both had to go down the elevator again. Both sharing the elevator, not saying anything. It was so funny. But yeah, it was a funny experience. But yeah.
Yeah, like
you've got to like hold your ground. You've got to have standards. You've got to set your own standards and not tolerate nonsense and that kind of thing. Because
absolutely. With a lot of things, there's nuance, but in situations like that, you can just follow like black and white sort of rules on that. It's like if she's behaving like that, making those demands, then
the thing is, I get it. Like, for example, she's coming from a different sort of cultural background, and she's not having the same privilege that you and me were lucky to have. But the thing is, the fact that she was kind of demanding it and like almost like forcing like an ultimatum in a way on me, which is just a wrong vibe, and it's just a very transactional vibe, and it really kills it for me, and that just annoys me. And it doesn't matter if like she's not had a privileged upbringing or whatever. The fact that she's kind of demanding that, it's just not good in my opinion.
It's very, very, very unattractive. I just think if the girl's really into you, like she just won't act like that. She'll be amenable. She'll try and make your life easy. Oh, you want to meet here? Or like, cool. Like, because she's into you. She's not into a particular restaurant. If she insists that it has to be a certain spot, then I'll say sorry. Next.
Exactly. I've had that as well actually, where like for example, the girl will suggest a particular venue. Normally I will insist on a venue of my choice, just to kind of avoid that trap where the girl is like potentially doing this a lot, where she's maybe like trying to get the guy to buy her a bunch of shit, and then sort of taking advantage in that way. And like I said before, it's a bit of a transactional vibe, which is not what I'm really not interested in. A lot of guys might disagree with me. They might think like, oh no, it's just part of the dating game, But in my opinion, no, it's not the right vibe. Like you said, the girl's got to like you for you, and she should be okay with your company, regardless of where the location is. Like if she's insisting on a particular location, for me, that's a bit of a red flag. Like that happened to me as well in Ukraine. Like I was supposed to go on a date with this one girl, and she was insisting on it to be a restaurant. And I was like, no, let's meet in the bar. And then she says, no, I want to meet in this restaurant. And then I said, no, let's meet in this bar. And then she says, no. And then I was just like, okay, fine, let's leave it then. Because the thing is, it's like, she's just trying to kind of hustle you. And it's just not the kind of thing that I'm interested in.
Yeah, sure. I think, the last time I was in Moscow, the last girl I slept with, it was kind of funny. Like my card got blocked, right? And so, we turn up to the date, and we're at the bar, and anyway, I was trying to pick up the bill, and then they brought the card machine, and like card declined, so she picked up the bill, right? Then we went to a second bar, same thing happened again. My card got declined. She picked up the bill, and on the way back to mine, we went to the corner shop. She picked up the bill. Went up, we had sex. I guess she wanted to get her money's worth, since she invested, but it just goes to show, because obviously like Russian girls and Ukrainian girls are quite well renowned for expecting the guy to pay. But that anecdote, that story kind of like really hits home. Like if she's really into you, she can even overcome some of her cultural norms, because there's genuine desire there, what I mean? So there are certain guys that fall victim to this. I have coached some very wealthy guys, and a lot of them, they do a good job of kind of concealing some of their wealth, So to first find out, is she really into them, and then later on they'll disclose, actually, I'm a bit of a big, I had in school, he was the son of an ambassador, and so he literally lived in a fucking mansion, and he would really hide that fact from girls for as long as he could before bouncing them back, because he didn't want it known that like his family were like really, really well off.
I think that's a smart thing to do, actually, because then you just know that the girl is actually into you for you. And then let's say, for example, you reveal later on that you've actually got a bit of wealth. Then from her perspective, it's just like an extra bonus rather than the primary reason why she's kind of going into it in the first place. And that way you kind of screen them out a bit. I think that's really smart. And that's 100% what I would do as well in the same situation.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like when you do day game, you realize it's just a mixed bag. You meet some girls that are very materialistic, then you meet other girls that are like just not that fussed, they're not really looking at you as a fucking walking wallet, again, it's good to get out there, approach and meet meet women, and you'll meet a range of women, they're not all like what certain channels on YouTube might, make you think that they're all kind of gold digging whores. I would say most women are not.
No, 100%. It's only a minority. Like even in Mexico and Ukraine, it's still a tiny minority of girls who are genuinely gold diggers. And then like sometimes you watch some stuff on the internet and then you might get like some other impression, but it's all bullshit. You really have to experience this stuff for yourself to really get a full understanding. Because most of the people that comment or like provide information on the internet, they're not out there approaching, they're not out there dating, they don't really know what's going on.
They're just making wild assumptions, basically.
Yeah.
They're not on the battlefield. They're not in the laboratory. They're not in the lab. The street is the lab.
Yeah.
Wicked, man. So should we wrap it up because it's almost 2 hours?
Yeah. Cool. No, it's been good. It's been a lot of insight. It's been really good. Obviously, you're doing a lot of coaching with a lot of the guys at the moment. And obviously, when I'm out of the UK, you've been doing most of the coaching for guys in the UK who are getting in touch. It's been going really well. I've been getting a lot of good feedback from guys, and it's been really good. So if guys are interested in getting coaching, then they can just send an email, just the usual email, ed@ed-game.com, and then we can arrange it. So you're pretty much just based in London, aren't you? And you're
for the most part,
cool.
The good thing about getting coaching in London, it can really give you a tremendous amount of confidence, because London is not the easiest place, to do day game. It's not the hardest, but it's not the easiest, and it's the most metropolitan city really in the world in many ways, I think. And so you're going to meet such a range of women, and so if you get good at day game in London, you can have a lot of confidence in yourself and in your game. You can be rest assured that if you go to other parts of the world, you'll do really well.
Exactly.
It's a perfect training ground. And so I do both day game coaching as well as night game too. So I do like night street game and also clubs as well. So anyone interested, hit me up. I've been doing this for 17 years. So I got into game in 2005, and I've been coaching for the past 10 years from 2012. So there aren't many guys out there who've been at this, doing this for as long as I have. So I've pretty much coached every sort of guy you can imagine, every age, every nationality, almost every profession, from like students to lawyers, detectives, police officers, all sorts. Yeah. So whatever your sticking point may be, I'm pretty confident, we can get it handled.
Cool. Yeah. And yeah, I'll just reiterate that point. Like, London is probably one of the best places to actually learn day game, because, like I say, it's not the easiest place, but you just get such a wide range of different kind of interactions and different scenarios. For example, you're going to get like busy natives who don't have the time to speak to you. You're going to get girls who are just not going to be that interested, giving you one word answers. You're going to get like, sort of like tourist girls who are by themselves and got a lot of time. They're really into like meeting new people. And then, you're going to get some harsh, well, not harsh, but like you're going to get a fair few blowouts. You're going to get the standard sorts of rejection. So it's just a really good place to kind of get the wide range of experience. And, if you can do well in London, if you can get results in London, then once you go abroad, it's going to feel significantly easier. And it's just going to put you in a really good place. So if you can learn it in London, it's just it's going to be great. Yes, it's a great place to learn it. Even if the quality and the quantity of attractive women is better abroad.
Ideally, like, you want to train hard and fight easy. So London will definitely make you train hard. So cool. Good speaking with you, Ed.
Yeah, likewise.
Cool. Until next time.
Cool. Take care.
Cheers for watching. If you'd be interested in one-to-one coaching with me, where we'll go out in public and work on you approaching girls, or more generally with your social confidence, please visit my website ed-game.com.